She goes, I lost 75% of my retirement account today. And she said, I have no hope of retirement. And that was true. 75% of Americans don't have a basic knowledge of what financial literacy or financial education is. 57% of Americans can't answer basic questions about budgeting, retirement investing, credit cards, how they work, mortgages, how they work. So they've never had exposure from their parents on how to do these things.
Welcome to Mastery Podcast, where we explore the art of living fully, balancing mind, body, spirit, and passion in pursuit of a better world. I am your host, Dr. Sass. Today, we have the privilege of welcoming Jean Marie Dillon, principal and owner of Freedom Financial Consulting, LLC, with a heart dedicated to empowering individuals through financial education. Jean brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to the table. Her approach is unique, focusing on counseling and education to help her clients achieve that financial goals and dreams. Now let's dig right in, right? Welcome, Jean, to Mastery Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Now, Jean, during the dot-com burst, you were Vice President of Human Resource and Development for this particular company. And one of the employee walked in, right? And something happened that caused you to just shift your career. Can you share with us that story?
Sure. So I worked in human resources for a hospital in Seattle, Washington. And this was during the dot-com bust. And in Seattle, it's very much a technology hub. You know, there is Microsoft, Boeing, Adobe.
Wow.
And so it was, everything was centered around technology at the time. And it consumed people's lives. It was on the news all the time. And it was everything that people absorbed on a day-to-day basis. So one day, in the year 2000, it was known as the dot-com bust. Technology drove a stock market crash. And I had an employee that came to me in tears. She was 57 years old, and she asked me for help. And I said, what's going on? And she goes, Jean, I don't think I can retire. I'm like, why? She goes, I lost 75% of my retirement account today. She had invested 75% of her retirement account in a tech fund that just crashed that day. And she said, I have no hope of retirement. And that was true. And I realized at that very moment that something had to change. She was not getting the education she needed from the workplace to balance her retirement properly between investments, to make wise investment choices and protect herself. She was just consuming outside information in the environment. And she thought that if she invested all of her retirement account in a tech fund, she would ride the dot-com boom of 1999, but didn't predict the dot-com bust of 2000. And at 57 years old, it was very unlikely that she would recover from that. So I believe that at that very moment, there was a need for financial literacy and education in the workplace. So I did a career pivot at that point in time.
Wow. And you have this so much compassion and empathy for this nurse that it hit you right in the heart. You're
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
how can someone recover from that?
Yeah.
And this is very important point, because me included, I'm sure a lot of us out there need this education, and we just don't feel like we are worthy, because, you know, when I first met you, I went to check on your website, and I was like, wow, this is not intimidating. This is friendly. This is inviting. You're different than any other financial advisor, financial planner that I met. You're very personable, and you actually care. You actually care about your client. That's the reason why you pivot and change your career in the first place. It took you 5 years to change your career, right? You went back to school.
I went back to school, got my master's degree, and became a certified financial planning professional.
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning, I provided financial literacy and education in the workplace, basic budgeting
Mm-hmm.
classes, how to manage credit card debt,
Mm-hmm.
and understand the ins and outs of retirement plans for the workplace. Eventually, I relocated to Asheville, North Carolina, to be with my husband, and left the human resources profession entirely and set up my own shop, Freedom Financial Counseling, LLC, and completely devoted myself to financial counseling, planning, and education, providing those services to individuals and couples,
Awesome.
and
Great.
devoted my passion to that.
Great. And what set you apart from other financial planner out there? I know you care. And you're not gonna like take our money, invest in something, and like buy.
Right.
Yeah. And that's what I think a lot of people out there are afraid of. Is like, how can I trust all this financial planner when I don't know what I'm doing? And you're different because you educate them. Is that correct?
That is correct. So where other certified financial planning professionals normally don't take clients unless they have $500,000 or more to invest, I will work with anyone. I've taken clients with as much as $50,000 worth of credit card debt.
Wow.
To people that come into a sudden inheritance from their parents and don't know what to do with it. I will work with both ends of the spectrum. And I've never sold a stock in my life. I am not a stock seller. So I am devoted to a sales-free environment. And my credential as being a certified financial planner and also being an accredited financial counselor, I am committed to a sales-free environment. I'm devoted to education.
Beautiful, beautiful. And you emphasize making financial education, like you said over and over again, it is important, but you want to make this available, accessible for everybody. That's why you offer it all across the board, right? I mean, we include, like, I don't have billions of dollars or, you know, and all those stuff. And it is intimidating for a lot of people. And we think we need to have millions and millions of dollars in the bank to have a financial planner. But you're saying, if you're an entrepreneur who invests all your money and all your retirement and you have a credit card debt, they can come to you, so you will help them plan for that, even investing. Is that correct?
Even investing. I will give them the basics of investing and how to invest in their 401k or in their IRA, or just understand how investment works, the difference between a stock and a bond, in just a no-pressure, non-judgmental environment. The truth of the matter is, 75% of Americans don't have a basic knowledge of what financial literacy or financial education is. They never had access to it.
Right.
And about 57% of Americans can't answer basic questions about budgeting, retirement investing, credit cards, how they work, mortgages, how they work. So they've never had exposure from their parents on how to do these things, how to manage credit card debt, how to manage a student loan, how to approach the best way to get a mortgage, a first-time home mortgage. That's where I come in. I bridge that gap and give them that education. And I try to do it in a very gentle, accessible way.
Yeah, non-judgmental. Gentle,
right.
Because, I mean, if you don't know about it and you make a wrong decision, then it's not your fault. It never is. And this is where you bridge the gap. And how can you make sure that this education is accessible to everybody? I mean, how accessible are you, and as an educator in this financial planning realm, to everybody out there?
So I offer education on a nationwide basis. I've provided education not only in my home state of North Carolina, but also to people across the United States. I do it by Zoom or a Gmail meet. But I also provide it on a sliding scale basis, on an ability to pay basis. So those people with high amounts of debt pay me as they are able. And those with higher amounts of wealth will pay my full fee. I work on a fee-only basis, an hourly basis. And I am a fiduciary, so I act in their best interest. I am committed as a certified financial planning professional to do that.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. You mentioned this intrinsic link between the financial well-being and the overall health. Could you discuss a little bit about the relationship of money that can lead to better decision making, can reduce stress, can enhance personal prosperity, stuff like that?
Sure. So to give you an example, credit card debt is an all-time high. There is $1.2 trillion worth of credit card debt that Americans hold today. That's a lot.
That is a lot.
And a majority of Americans say that they are not prepared to pay if there's a sudden debt need, like they have a medical bill of $1,000, they're unlikely to pay it in cash. They'll have to put it on a credit card. They just don't have the emergency fund to do that. That's stressful.
It is.
Right?
Yeah.
So to be financially educated promotes mental health and overall well-being. And what I mean by that is that if you have the tools in your toolbox, if you're able to better manage debt, and if you're prepared to pay off debt, and if you're able to extinguish debt and invest, then later invest, you will be able to make prudent decisions, you'll be able to make competent decisions, you will be able to reduce your stress, you'll have greater mental health, greater financial health, you'll be able to contribute to the overall well-being of society and your community, and you'll just have an overall better sense of not only personal well-being, but psychological well-being and financial health.
Yeah, and I believe that when people say money can't buy happiness, I mean, to a certain point, right? If you take care of your finances, you are more peaceful, you're more healthy, you're happier, you have better relationship because you're a happier person. So your relationship with money, with wealth, is really important. And thank you for answering that question. Now, could you share a particular memorable event or success story that you have with one of your clients with us.
Absolutely. At the beginning of when I started this career pivot and decided to devote my career into financial education, I had a client early on who had $50,000 worth of credit card debt, largely due to a spending habit. And largely due to a Starbucks habit, believe it or not.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Went to a Starbucks.
Those Starbucks cup can add up.
But admittedly, went to Starbucks every day and worked with this client for almost 2 years to pay down credit card debt. This client successfully paid down credit card debt. I was married. This client was married. Paid down the credit card debt after 2 years and didn't hear from this client. Successfully paid down the debt. Didn't hear from the client for about 6 months. Came back with the spouse and said, okay, we're ready to buy a condo.
Oh, wow.
And can you help us budget for a first-time home mortgage and help us buy a condo? So worked with the clients together to help them buy a condo, and successfully did that. Didn't hear from them for about a year. They came back to me again. We're ready to have our first child. Can you help us budget for their college education, this child's college education? And worked with them for another year to get them on the right path for a 529 plan for their child's college education. So that, I think, is the perfect story of how the process works. It's a shame-free environment to get out of debt, to later grow and build wealth, build a family, build retirement, whatever the path may be, whatever the goal of the client or clients may be. But to encourage that, yes, we get into some sticky situations. Many of Americans do, but there is a path out of it. You just have to ask. You just have to ask for help, and I provide that help.
That's an amazing story, and a lot of people who are in debt, they don't think they will ever be able to buy the home again. And I can talk from experience because, been through divorce and all this stuff and then bankruptcy and multiple things happen in your life, right? No judgment, because we all go through stuff. And if we don't know how to take care of that, we'll never buy a home again. And I did. I took care of the stuff, and now we own a beautiful home. But there are so many people out there who are in the same situation as the client that you just talked about. And I'm glad you brought this up. That's a great story. That's like the ultimate success there, right? Going from being in so much debt to debt-free, and then to buying a home, and now saving for the college funds and stuff like that. Now, where can people find you, Jean?
So people can find me on my website. It's called freedomfinancialcounseling.org. And they're welcome to book a free 15-minute phone consultation on my website. And I just have a very casual meet and greet phone call with them and see if we can work together, if they are comfortable with me, because financial counseling, planning, or education is a very personal relationship. And we see if we get along, and if the client feels comfortable with me, then we'll take it to the next step from there.
Awesome. Great. Thank you for that information. And for those of you watching, it's in the description, and we put that on the screen. So that's how you can find Jean. And Jean, one last question before I let you go. Thank you so much for all that. Can you give our listener, our audience, one golden nugget? What you think would be that one thing that actually will help support us to live a better, healthier, more fulfilling life?
So I always preach hobbies make a person whole. I am a runner, and I like to do nature photography, particularly birding photography. But that circles back to when I was in human resources and I was interviewing candidates for jobs. And I always asked my candidates, what do you like to do in your spare time? And I would always hire the candidates saying, oh, I'm a competitive swimmer, or I like baseball, or I like to go camping with my kids. Because those candidates always proved to be happy workers, healthy workers. They always were well-rounded individuals that had good mental health, that were able to strike a balance between work and play. And in order to do that, you had to be on good footing with your finances as well.
Right. Because some hobbies cost a lot.
They do.
Yeah. If you pick up golf as a hobby,
golf is expensive.
It's expensive. Right. Thank you, Jean, for that powerful message. And thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in, for watching today, for listening today, and for more inspiring story and wisdom on living fully, balancing mind, body, spirit, and passion. Don't forget to subscribe to Mastery Podcast. I'm Dr. Saz, reminding you to embrace the journey to mastery, where every step forward is a step towards a better world. Until next time, keep striving, keep learning, and keep growing.